This it will be the review of Naruto Shippuden episode 403, Unwavering Gutsiness. Now, the synopsis is basically this. Team 8 pursues the team from the village, who, upon realizing they were followed, the fat guy decides to use some special scent-removing gunk that he creates in his mouth by absorbing the sweat by sucking in his sweat, and uses it to remove their scent so that way Kiba and Akamaru can no longer track them. And they are still outside of Hinata's Byakugan range, so they can't be seen that way. However, Shino's insects prove unable to track down the aggressive. He uses them to try and find them, but unfortunately, these insects were tricked into finding mirages. And as the other team discuss their strategy, or as they discuss their strategy to take down this team, Kiba is inspired by Naruto's unwavering determination as he vows to retrieve the scrolls the Grass Ninja have. Their search takes them to the middle of the desert facing this team. However, despite being outmatched, Shino's plan to fake his teammates' deaths with his insects gives them the advantage as they defeat their respective opponents, quickly gaining both scrolls to advance. Now, this episode was pretty straightforward. I mean, Team 8 they got Akamaru and Kiba, whose sense of smell came back at the end of the last episode, so now they're able to track again. But the fat guy removes their scent. Left with nothing to do, they try and use Shino's insects once again to find him. But after finding only mirages of the enemy, they have nothing to do. So, Kiba gets inspired and goes into a flashback about, being inspired by Naruto's unwavering determination. And through some weird flashback of how Kiba's basically like, okay, while he's trying to train to improve his skills, he come across the training grounds where Naruto was practicing the Rasengan, and sees that it was, very destroyed from all the Rasengan attempts, or perfected Rasengan attempts, because it had the spirals of the uncompleted one. And basically, what's going to happen, he through his sense of smell, can still smell the lingering scent of Naruto's blood, sweat, and tears that went into all the training he did to perfect the Rasengan. So as a way of inspiring himself, he plans on training even harder, so that way his blood, sweat, and tears, as well as Akamaru's, will be ingrained. The scent of that will be ingrained in the land, and it will no longer smell like Naruto, which is a weird reasoning. And his idea for training is he wants to take the two-headed wolf and increase the number of heads. At first, he tries to do a lot, but he unfortunately can't do much. So he settles on just trying to master a three-headed. And after several failed attempts, he eventually gets it. Now, they use with no way. Then come to realize that this enemy team is going to be heading towards the checkpoint in the middle of the desert, the checkpoint. So instead of wandering around aimlessly trying to find them, they decide to utilize Hinata's Byakugan to try and find what would be the safest route, meaning least amount of quicksand. The safest route to get there, for thinking that that the enemy's probably taking the safe route, so then they figured by process of elimination that must be this place they're going to, or that direction they're taking. So they follow it, and lo and behold, they come across them. Now they become quickly outmatched which, they shouldn't be because they went through all that training. And just when you thought everything went wrong, we have the characters seemingly all get killed. And as the enemies are celebrating, they get hit or they get attacked. Where we find out is that Shino used his bugs to create clones of his teammates and replace them so that way they could get away and the clones would die. As for Shino, who didn't use a clone to escape because he had blades on his neck, he used the insects in his body to force his body to simulate death. Anyway, and then uses bugs to completely surround his other teammates so that way the fat guy, who apparently also has an amazing sense of smell for tracking, couldn't smell them and they could sneak up on them and attack. And then, just as previously stated, they each defeat their opponents, and then Kiba and Akamaru do their new move, the three-headed wolf technique, to take them all out at once. And conveniently, just like in most anime fashion, the object they were trying to get from them, the enemy team, falls out instead of being blasted away with the enemy. Now, this episode, it was okay. It was kind of cheesy. It seemed like it tried so hard to focus on Kiba and, and then screw everyone else. Because, Kiba was the one who got the flashback. But in all honesty, Kiba did jack. Except for a finishing blow that was pretty much not really needed, since they pretty much had the win anyway. Because it was Hinata's Byakugan helped them find the way to the ninja, and then of course we had the MVP of the episode, Shino, using his insects to basically turn on the tables once and for all. And Shino doesn't get enough love, and in this episode he got showcased why he should get love, but unfortunately they just said they spent too much time focused on Kiba. And they used Kiba's flashback as a way of putting Naruto in the episode, because they have to keep making sure that they have at least one Naruto, a few seconds of Naruto in every episode, just so you don't forget that this is called Naruto and not the village hidden in the leaves. Now, this episode by itself was, like I said, okay. The only problem I have is that this filler has been going on for too long, and it's unfortunately not going to get any shorter, because the preview for next week's episode makes me almost not want to watch it. Because not only are we not going to go focus on Choji, Ino, and Sakura, we're going back to Team Guy. But what makes matters even worse is that it's a 10-10 focused episode. She doesn't deserve to get an episode focus, and she's apparently going to get one. So it's just going to make everything worse. I just don't like her. So this week's episode was decent. Maybe they'll actually make 10-10's focused episode a little interesting. According to the preview, they're supposed to be going up against the team from the Hidden Rain Village, which I guess could be kind of interesting. But I hope you guys like this review, and see you guys next time.